Friday morning, February 20th at Sakhya began like a gladiator arena, the final major session that will define the fate of the 2026 season. When the checkered flag fell at 2 p.m, the focus was squarely on Ferrari's prince Charles Leclerc, who rose to heal the wounds of yesterday's Hamilton crisis. Ferrari didn't just chase lap times today, they descended upon the paddock like a scarlet storm. Yet, behind the scenes, Mercedes' chilling new four-element wing, Haas's unexpected awakening with Ferrari power, and Lance Stroll's silent, desperate screams in the garage shattered the 2026 hierarchy into pieces. Each of the 11 teams raced against the clock, fighting for every centimetre and every bit of leaked data before Melbourne. Before we dissect Leclerc's massive 1-minute 33.689 lap, Mercedes' Aero genius, and Aston Martin's endless drama in the longest analysis ever, subscribing and turning on notifications is vital to securing your spot in this 2026 revolution. Charles Leclerc sent a message so blunt and clear today that rival telemetry screens practically froze. "We are the bosses." Clocking a 1-minute 33.689 on C3 tyres, he didn't just claim P1, he crushed 80 laps with metronomic consistency, shattering every doubt about Ferrari's reliability. The horrific hydraulic leaks and flipping wing crises Hamilton faced yesterday were gone. Ferrari deployed a much more refined, stable and bug-free software suite today. Leclerc's braking performance into turn 10 showed that the SF26's front-end downforce is leagues ahead of the competition. Ferrari operated their X-mode active Aero so smoothly that their 342 km/h top speed sent the rest of the paddock into a deep state of pre-Melbourne anxiety. Leclerc's confident expression was brutal proof that Maranello has finally arrived with the car. Today, Mercedes did more than just reveal a new part. They unleashed a literal technical earthquake that has sent seismic tremors through every single garage on the Sakhya grid. The Silver Arrows pulled back the curtain on the W17 to debut an unprecedented four-element rear wing, a design that doesn't just push the 2026 technical regulations to their absolute atomic limits, it threatens to rewrite the laws of aerodynamic efficiency as we know them. By exploiting every microscopic grey area in the new active Aero statutes, Mercedes has introduced a wing architecture featuring two additional, clandestine vanes positioned strategically beyond the traditional main plane and upper flap. The engineering objective here is both deceptively simple and terrifyingly complex: to manipulate the boundary layer of airflow with such surgical precision that the car effectively disappears from the wind when DRS is closed, neutralizing drag to a degree rivals thought impossible. Then, the moment X-mode is engaged, these four elements harmonize to create a massive localized low-pressure zone, maximizing downforce efficiency and stability during high-speed cornering. It is a masterpiece of fluid dynamics that makes every other car on the grid look like a relic of a bygone era. However, this revolutionary leap in engineering carries with it a set of massive, high-stakes risks that were brutally exposed in the desert sun. The paddock held its collective breath when Kimi Antonelli was forced to trigger a red flag mid-session, coming to a dead halt on the searing asphalt of the Sakhya circuit. The diagnosis was immediate and chilling: a total pneumatic pressure loss at the rear of the car. It appears the complex valve systems required to actuate and synchronize four independent aerodynamic elements under the crushing loads of Sakhya's straights reached a breaking point. This catastrophic failure is the smoking gun that proves Mercedes' smart wing is still very much a wild, untamed beast. A mechanical predator that offers godlike speed but possesses a volatile temper that could bite its own driver at the most critical moment of a Grand Prix. The frantic, almost desperate energy radiating from the Mercedes garage as mechanics swarmed the W17, coupled with the hollow, anxious stares of Toto Wolff, painted a vivid and haunting picture. We are no longer just looking at a testing session, we are witnessing a multi-billion-dollar championship gamble where the margin between engineering genius and mechanical fiasco is thinner than a carbon fiber thread. Mercedes has shown their hand, and while the speed is undeniable, the reliability of this four-element monster remains the single biggest question mark hanging over the 2026 season opener in Melbourne. Not just technically but politically, Mercedes stirred the pot today. Shocking leaks suggest that rivals Red Bull, Ford, Ferrari, Honda and Audi prepared to vote against their own engine compression ratio 16:1 proposal at the FIA. The twist is cinematic. After seeing Mercedes' engine maintain perfect compliance and superior efficiency even when hot, rivals deeply regret their hot and cold test proposal, originally meant to curb Mercedes. Some manufacturers wanted to support only the hot test to leave themselves a loophole. But faced with Mercedes' technical supremacy, they are now terrified of falling into their own trap. This boardroom war is the ultimate confirmation that the 2026 Mercedes power unit is a terrifying nightmare for the rest of the grid. The undeniable and most staggering shock of the morning was Esteban Ocon and the Haas-Ferrari partnership. Ocon stunned the paddock, taking P4 with a 1 minute 34.494 late in the session. How? The answer is buried in the massive 2026 Ferrari power unit under the hood. While the main Ferrari team occasionally grapples with reliability, Haas delivered a zero-error performance with a session-high 82 laps. The brutal torque of the Ferrari engine, combined with Haas's relatively compact and lighter chassis, gave Ocon a massive acceleration advantage in Sakhir's slow corners. Haas proved they are no longer just a backmarker, they are a predator in weight, ready to wreck the midfield with Ferrari's raw power. Ocon's lap was the silent yet most effective reply to Mercedes. The Ferrari engine might indeed be the fastest on the grid. Today, with Lance Stroll taking over from Alonso, Friday morning became an absolute source of embarrassment and an engineering disaster for Aston Martin. Stroll only managed to hit the track with 18 minutes remaining, completing technically just one representative lap. The infamous Honda vibration and pneumatic issues reached a terminal point today. The AMR26 sat behind curtains like a non-functional wreck, as Honda engineers struggled with the fatal mismatch between the gearbox and MG UK. The graveyard silence in the garage and the helpless look under Stroll's helmet said it all. If this Honda nightmare isn't fixed by Melbourne, Aston Martin might forfeit their 2026 season before it even starts. This isn't just a delay, it's Lawrence Stroll's multi-million-dollar investment being crushed under the complexity of Honda's 2026 engine. At Red Bull Ford, young talent Isaac Hadjar took the seat, finishing P5 and completing 59 laps focused entirely on the Ford unit's thermal management. Red Bull continued to test Ford's famed reliability instead of chasing lap times. Meanwhile, McLaren finished P3 with Piastri, hitting the track with massive Aero rakes to test the MCL40's stability in dirty air. McLaren is prepping a counter to Mercedes' four-element wing with new Aero solutions on their floor edges. While Red Bull and McLaren seem a step behind Mercedes and Ferrari right now, we know both teams are waiting to reveal their true hand in Melbourne with overtake mode. For them, this morning was just homework for the race simulation, and both giants are lying in wait for their rivals to slip up. Audi finished P9 with Hülkenberg today, proving once again they possess one of the most compact and stable chassis on the grid. Audi's gearbox integration is so smooth that Hülkenberg reported feeling more balanced than his rivals on corner entry. Cadillac, the 11th team, managed 59 laps with Sergio Perez but remained nearly 5 seconds off the pace, continuing as the slowest on the grid. Audi is eyeing the top of the midfield ahead of Williams and Alpine. Cadillac's only goal for Melbourne is simply to see the checkered flag, but their current pace suggests they risk being a mobile chicane. At Williams, Carlos Sainz remained P8 after a steady morning, but the car's overweight issue remains their biggest enemy. In this 11-team structure, the midfield war is more brutal and engineering-focused than ever before. As the Feb 20 morning session ends with the checkered flag, the consensus is clear. The 2026 season will be the most unpredictable and technically chaotic in F1 history. Leclerc's Ferrari-powered dominance, Mercedes' legally controversial four-element wing, Haas's massive awakening with Ferrari power, and Stroll's one-lap Aston Martin disaster. In this 11-team hierarchy, the cards are reshuffled once again, and no one is safe before Melbourne. While Ferrari looks like the leader heading into the evening, the biggest secret in the paddock is that Mercedes and Red Bull still have hidden tenths in their pockets. Do you think Mercedes' four-element wing will be banned in Melbourne? Is Ocon's P4 in the Haas a flash in the pan or a sign of midfield leadership? How will Aston Martin wake up from this Honda nightmare? Let's discuss Feb 20's massive technical and political war in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications for the evening data, the final pre-Melbourne power rankings, and all the leaks. Safe, stable, and fastest exits from the pit always.